Hey, what's going on, fellow trade geniuses? This is Philip, and kind of wanted to go over the weekly outlook as far as our binary trading strategies go. So, why don't we hit some charts and take a look at the week going forward? So, one thing I wanted to do is look at the ES chart, and ES is just grinding and grinding higher, and it truly is just a buy the dip market. As much as I hate to say that, because one of these dips is just going to rip some faces off, but they aren't going that route yet. And so we'll just trade the charts until we see the tides change. So if we're looking, this is a 4-hour chart. So if we're looking at the volume, kind of like to look at the volume histogram here on the chart itself to show which levels have a lot of activity. And as you can see, here we're getting up into, the stratosphere, so we don't have a lot of volume history to tell us what's going on. Obviously, we do have a little bit of a dip in volume from 2470-ish down to this support here at 2460. So I think any approaches at 2460 would get bought initially. So that would be a level to key in on. The other level where we have kind of a jump in volume starts at 2445 roughly. And lots of volume in this 2425 area. So I would look for support to hold in the 2420 area. I think any moves in there might overthrow, but then it would come back up. This would be any corrections on the way down. I would be surprised if we saw much of anything below 2420 before we got up to 2500, because I think that's where this is headed. I think we see 2500 before we see anything lower. So anyway, that's kind of what we're looking at. So some key levels: 2420. I don't think we see that this week. 2445 and 2460 are the key levels that I'm looking at based on volume and price action. So that is the ES. Go back to this. All right. One thing too on the ES is a good play is our overnight Globex sessions. And so we can even crank this down to 20-minute. And if we look at that, if you can get a move to like half deviation in Globex, great spot to fade. And we call those out in the room. And or if there's a situation where we might wait, depending on what we're seeing. But overnight Globex fades, I love those, because they tend to retrace almost always back to settlement or something like that. So, or VWAP. So anyway, if we do get a move lower, we are lower a bit here from the get-go. We'll see what happens, but we don't have our deviation lines up yet for this session, but we do have S1 down here at 2463. If we saw a move down to that, I definitely would want to fade that overnight. So we'll see what happens. Set up the price alerts, and for the guys in the room, we'll signal that out. Okay, so let's head over to our other charts where we have, get rid of this and this, and let's take a look at. All right, so here we have our Forex charts, and basically, when we're looking at, say, our swing trades, what I want to see is, what we want to get into is our magic channel. We want to see anything that's pressing. Now, normally here, for example, Aussie yen, I'd be really tempted at looking at this, but because we're in a low VIX environment, which we'll take a look at the VIX here in a bit, we like to go with the VIX adjusted channel, low VIX adjusted channel here. So when we start seeing a move down into the 8740 range, that's when we'll start bringing up the probabilities and then take a look at maybe an entry in there. So right now, basically 40 pips lower if we see a break there. So VIX was higher, there's a lot more movement, and we can go with these tighter magic channels. But for this environment, until it changes, I really don't like taking the at the money swing positions unless we start venturing into these wider channels. So looking at the overall FX environment, Aussie yen would probably be probably be the first one that would signal. Over here we have our yen, just straight up yen futures and dollar futures. Yen starting to look a little toppy, and so that's why you will see some of the yen crosses kind of in a downtrend, but we'll keep an eye on that. So possibly Aussie yen would be something that we'd get at the money. All right, let's take a look at the commodity space. Again, these would be our plays. Now you can see oil has taken a dip and actually fallen out of the channel here. So we may be taking a look at that. Natural gas as well, fallen out. Now, granted, these don't populate. The weeklies won't populate till later, so we'll take a look at that. But we probably may signal something out for oil. All right. Gold trending higher. I think gold is going to be. I think gold is in the buy the dip mode. So we'll monitor that during the week for a play. Corn fell out of bed, big time. So this channel is probably going to adjust down, but that's a nasty dropout. And soy is heading lower. We'll see how that plays out over the next 24 to 48 hours. But metal spaces, I think, nice trend up. And again, getting to any of the extremes here on the channel with this price action, I think, is just great plays. So we'll signal those out as they come up. Let's see, we can look at the dailies. So we talked about ES. Here it is in the Magic Channel, and as you can see, nothing extreme yet. That 2460 level would be pretty tasty to, if we got a dip there, definitely want to probably buy into that. Over here we have our ratio chart for our yield curve ratio. Now, as you can see, yield curve's been trending down, and we really haven't seen, you know, basically ES is, so when we get into a situation where it starts to diverge, this is where I start to key in on we probably would get, and this will manifest in maybe a 24-hour move down, something like that. Okay. And it works the other way too. Yield curve's trending up, this diverges, boom, you get to move up. In fact, these divergences are usually a more powerful move because everything is just so biased to the upside on ES. But I do like to keep track of this and what I'm seeing here, unless we see yield curve move up, which not really biased for that. I think it continues to trend down. We could see, and maybe not in the next 24 hours, but in the next 48 hours, we could see a move down, maybe 10 to 15 ES points down, low to high, and that would be probably the end of that correction. So, but again, this to me is a warning flag when we've got divergence that here. Let's draw this. So you've got this, so, and then you've got this going on. So pretty blatant divergence there, and more often than not, this will result in the ES correcting down. So we'll keep an eye on that. What's the other thing that we can look at here? That's pretty much it, other than VIX. You know, we like to look at VIX as far as where we're at. Historic lows, it's very low. We're well below the 13 level that we like to see for when Nadex premiums are optimal. If we take a look at maximize this sell here, the only upside here is that relative to where the VIX is, the other this is the British pound VIX, that's below us. We also have the yen VIX, that's below us, and then we have the dollar euro dollar cross VIX around the same range. So if they're at the same range as VIX or lower, we like to see that for our high probability plays, which by the way are about 28-1 since March. So they've really, the probability engine's really just been hitting well, and kind of what we usually, even in this low VIX environment, it's doing well. We just have to be a little bit more patient with our entries, but patience pays right now, and it's working out really well. So anyway, that's what the VIX looks like. So kind of our weekly outlook. again, I think the the Aussie yen will probably give us a signal soon, but and then that's what we're looking at here. Let's do maximize the sell. All right, so down in this 87.40 area. All right, and then as far as commodities go, just to recap, I think we've probably looking at oil. Oil's definitely talking to me. So once out of that channel like that, I like that for a buy. So guys, look for a signal to be sent out probably on one of those relatively soon. And like I said, if anything happens on ES overnight, we will signal that out as well. So that's the start of the week. We'll update this as things change. Other than that, look forward to having a great week in the room, and look forward to getting you guys some good signals out on the binary side. All right, guys, have a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.